Hey folks, Brian here, RPG Day 2020, day 16. The prompt for today is dramatic. And, you know, a game is going to be as dramatic as the GM and the players um, conspire to make it. Then I started thinking, what do we really mean by dramatic? Because the first thing I thought of was, um, as a GM, interacting with the players as NPCs and taking on personas and that kind of thing, which reminded me of the very first RPG game I ran, which was at Origins 2017, I think, when the Quick Start came out, and I was running Broken Tower, which is in the back of Quick Start, and in there's this old crazy shaman guy up in the hills, and he's very distracted by all the spirits and stuff going around, and he has a certain bent on the stone woman, which is a part of the scenario. And so as the players are discussing things and the shamans sometimes make comments to them, I'll actually look up around the room, turn around and go, shh, that kind of thing, because all these spirits are bothering him. And whenever any of the PCs or the characters, players actually, ever said anything about the stone woman, he went in this little bent about, if you ever see the stone woman, you should run. That kind of thing. She walks this place. If you see her, you should run. It was a lot of fun for me. Um, but being dramatic tends to go into developing conflict, whether physical or emotional, within the game context. And obviously, well, not obviously, in my game, there's a lot of physical um, conflict because I'm an old school gamer and we play to fight. And there's all kinds of evil that needs to be destroyed, right? But I did try to pull in some emotional drama as well. In chapter 2 of my Chronicles of Karin campaign, Lars, one of the players, has a sister who's a scribe. Um, and so I had her get kidnapped out of the library in Johnstown. And so Lars's brother-in-law comes, pounding on his door late one night. She's gone. They can't find her. I need help. That was my hook to get going with the next scenario. And it was kind of interesting and it was great. Lars's player ran him very well on focusing on getting his sister back. And that ran that whole chapter of the scenario, where they could have done some other things or done more. As soon as he got to where he get to his sister, I want her back. I don't care about anything else. I want her back. And that was great. Lots of fun. Some of that emotional pinging. Speaking of emotional pinging, I play in a game. It uses the Runequest 3 engine, but it's actually the space opera game. If you ever saw that white box set from like 1978 or something. And our party, I'm sorry, I'm going to go long on this one. Our party, it's a science fiction game, obviously. We are investigating this planet. We're trying to find some biologics, plant stuff, to help deal with a drug infestation, essentially, that's going across the whole sector. Actually, two sectors. But the planet we're on is inhabited by Khazinti. They're cat people, and they're big cat people, right? And we're meeting in this village, and we're trying to, well, I as a player and my character, I guess, are trying to, if we can infiltrate, the village, then maybe we can get some inside information on finding out more about this other stuff. Plus, we're also trying to look for a ship, although I don't think the Zinthi themselves will have any information about that. But we might be able to hook up with them to find and capture maybe a Carillion. They're the Imperial race, manhandling the whole sector. and then see if we can't get information that way. But that's just a side back thing. The main thing is pretty well. Main thing here on the planet is uh, the plant stuff, and so we're trying to coordinate with this village. So um, we're getting set up by the village elder to do something that he wants for us to get involved because he starts offering these things about want to join the village, are you warriors, that kind of thing, and so we go through their little initiation to manhood uh, trek, which is go out in the wilderness for a week and come back. And obviously, the first part is survive for the week. But the second part is, to bring back some kind of a trophy, show your warriorness kind of thing, right? And I I didn't get back with anything. I made a little fire pot, so I could carry fire in it. Made clay, and the clay got baked on the inside. So it was a little pot I put in a bag and carried it around, that kind of thing. And I figured that this warrior society was probably going to make fun of that. And so I was just waiting for somebody to make a snickering, and then I was going to, do some kind of insulting behavior, trip them, something like that, uh, to initiate a man-on-man, a one-on-one combat kind of thing. Because I knew that I just survived the time I didn't do that well. But I've got a couple of tricks up my sleeve on surviving hand-to-hand combat, and it turns out something like that did happen. The elder's investigating my pot. Some other Kazinti comes up, grabs the pot from him, looking at it, and so I grab my spear and try and knock it out of his hand, kind of thing, like don't touch my stuff and leave the man alone. But I miss, and so he threw it down, crushed it. So I spit at him, and at that he took a swipe at my arm. Actually incapacitated my arm, and he didn't put all of his strength into it either. What a mess. So we initiate the whole ritual one-on-one combat thing, and everything boiled down um, to me invoking essentially psionics. I could go invisible on one target kind of thing. I can make myself invisible to you kind of deal, and I'll boil down to that. If I could make that one roll, it'd be great because I just sidestepped him and stabbed him in the back and his first blood, and we're done, right? But I could viscerally feel the stress. This one roll, this whole combat, because if this Gazindi puts a claw into me, I'm dead. This one roll, make it, it's gotta work, it's gotta work, it's gotta work. It was great. So how are you able to make your games dramatic? Happy game.